Welcome to True North, the podcast where we talk about life, growth, and become the best version of ourselves. I'm Ramith, your host, and here we'll have honest conversations about self development, finding direction, stay accountable, and living a more meaningful and fulfilled life. Let's navigate life together and find our true north. So here today we have Samiha. Samiha, can you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Samiha. I'm currently pursuing my bachelor's in psychology, and as a budding psychology student, I'm deeply interested in understanding human thoughts, emotions, and behavior. It's truly an honor to be here today and have this conversation with you all about mental well being, self awareness, and the way our minds shape our everyday lives.
Thank you for taking the time and be in our podcast. How do our thoughts shape the way we feel and act in our daily life?
For an instance, if you take two people can be going through the same exact situation and they can be feeling completely different. So that is because the events don't always shape us. It's what the meaning we give to them does. So if I have to say an example, so let's say a manager says something like, "Can you come and see me for a minute?" So one employee might think something like, "Oh, I have messed up." They start overthinking, your heart start racing, and you really become defensing during the conversation. So the same scenario when it comes to a different employee, he might think in a different way. For an instance, like maybe it's about a new project. He might walk in calmly, speak confidently. So it is the same sentence where the manager says, "Can you come and see me for a minute?" But each of us have different thoughts, the different emotions, different behavior. So through this, we can understand that our thoughts become our moods, and our moods indeed become our habits, and our habits eventually become our personality. If I am to tell about another example,
Yeah,
when it comes to social media too, let's say we come across like we post a picture and you check in every 5 minutes and you don't get enough reactions from the people viewing it, so you come to the conclusion that maybe I'm not interesting enough. So when you get a thought like that, this thought creates anxiety, you become insecure, and you even start depending on validation from people. So another person can perceive this in a different way, like maybe people are not active at this time, maybe I can create this post in a more engaging way, something like that.
that's true. It's not what happened to us, but it's how we react
Absolutely.
and the way we think. The thoughts we
Yeah.
have, it will have an effect on the circumstances or how we respond to life. Why do negative thoughts feel so real, even when they are not? What do you think about it?
I think that the brain is mainly designed to protect us and not necessarily to make us happy. So, speaking about humans, we give more importance to negative things because our brain thinks that negativity is important for survival more than positive compliments, positive anything from people. We mainly give priority to negativity. Like, even if somebody gives us a compliment, we can't accept it. We think that it is not right. We our brain eventually disagrees with that. If I have to give an example, let's say you get 99 nice comments and one hateful compliment. More than the 99 nice comments, as humans replay the one hateful comment which we got. That is how it works. Apart from that, another life scenario, for an instance where you wave at someone and they don't wave back at you, so you just come to the conclusion that maybe they ignored me, maybe they don't want to talk to me, but in reality it could be because they didn't see you. Yet the emotional reaction feels real. That is because our brain, it reacts to interpretation and not facts.
That's true. Yeah. So, to elaborate, so our brain is made for survival. So we are supposed to think to survive and um I would say like find problems, find
Mm.
negative things, and things for us to find solutions. Even when we see, like you said, a lot of good things, we will always focus on the negative thing or the things that didn't happen. So
Mm.
that's how our brain works. So and another thing is we are humans, but we have evolved. All days we were supposed to survive. Like we have to think about where we gonna find food, where we gonna if we gonna get attacked by animal. So our brain is made for survival. But if I ask, what do you think? How to change that negative thoughts? And how to change that?
So maybe to start off, we can start becoming more aware. For an instance, like aware in means of not controlling every thought, but maybe in a way you start noticing. Like a simple technique could be where you pause and name. So when I am feeling a certain way, let's say I feel anxious, so I ask myself why, what thought created this feeling, and I answer it. Maybe because I think I'll embarrass myself. And then I ask myself, so is this thought a fact or just an interpretation? Is this guaranteed? So if the answer is no, then I take a tiny pause, and this pause changes everything. So when you create awareness within yourself, you respond instead of reacting.
Take a pause before you think
Yeah,
or before you react. It's how our nature is to react. So our brain and how we are is to react. Whatever happens, we are supposed to react. But the thing is, we are in control in our life and we can take a pause. Like you said, pause is a tool that we can use. We can pause and
yeah,
think for a little bit and see that is this something need a reaction or something that need a response. Or like you said, is this a thought that you're having or something someone else has given or someone else has told. We have the capacity to understand the thought. That's why we are human, like apart from animals. So animal doesn't have reasoning or the frontal cortex is not developed enough to have that change. That's why they are always in survival mode. So as humans, we are in survival mode most of the time, but we can change that and find the depth in our life. And another thing I would suggest is to practice gratitude. You can have a gratitude journal, things daily. If you write three things daily that you are grateful for, your brain is rewired. Your brain is rewired to think the things that we are grateful for. Sometimes we might not feel grateful at the moment, but when bad things happen or when things go wrong way, we can see the good, see the positive things, see the gratitude. We can be grateful for things. So yesterday we had this activity of writing 12 things that we are grateful for, three by three, so 4, 12. So like that, if you practice daily, you will notice things that you're grateful for. Sometimes it might be a cup of tea. You might get a cup of tea from your parents or your spouse. It might be a small thing, but that can be something that most people don't have, or a place to stay, a place to sleep, like small things. Even something that I have heard before is pure water, like clean water. In Sri Lanka, I think everyone has clean water and everyone has access. But there are some countries in Africa you have to go like 12 or 15 kilometers just to get water and come back. And even the water is not clear enough, like, clean enough to drink. So, like that, if we can change, I think our brain is made to focus on the negativity on 20%. And if we can change that to 80% of the gratitudes, that's a good way to navigate negative thoughts. What do you think about it? Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think about? What do you think
Yes, I
about?
totally agree.
Yeah. So that's a practical thing that we can apply to when there is negative thoughts. Um. Uh. Yeah. Anything more to add about this topic or anything that you have learned? You said you did this for a project, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what is the scope, or how did you get this? How did you came up with this? Uh, how did you came up with this project, and what was the things you learned, and what was the response you got it from, if I may ask?
So what I learned is that it's always our thoughts. So our thoughts is eventually what becomes our behaviors and emotions and so and so. So if we can understand why we are getting a certain thought, why we are reacting certain ways, rather than going away from a situation, like even when anything hurtful happens to us, it can be anywhere, it can be with anyone, rather than distracting ourselves by not confronting it and communicating about it, the best thing we can do is face it and communicate about it and figure it out rather than suppressing our feelings, because I personally believe that emotions have to be expressed rather than suppressed, because suppressing emotions is what comes up later on in our lives. So if certain situations can be addressed and acknowledged, it resolves many things in life.
Yes. Yeah, that's something most people, I think, not aware of, and things that they do is they bottle up their emotions, and they will find distractions, and they might not, they don't want to confront it. And like you said, it might come in a different way later on. So it's better to confront and uh, deal with those emotions at the moment rather than suppressing them or bottling up. That's how anger
Yeah.
comes out. That's how people get stressed. And one thing that I can recommend is talking to someone. It can be a friend, it can be a counselor, it can be a therapist, it can be a psychologist, it can be a coach, or anyone that you express yourself and express your emotions. I think that's a healthy way to express yourself and find more about yourself. Like if you're feeling sad or if you're feeling angry or frustrated, you might not find the answer by yourself. But if you talk to someone, in my experience, that I have seen is when you talk to someone, you get the knowledge, you get the understanding for yourself as well. Like when there are clients, when there are clients who come and talk to me about their problems or what they want to achieve, sometimes they don't have a clear idea, but when they are talking with me for like 30 minutes 1 hour, they understand what they want and what is the problem. So when we keep things in our head, it kind of uh it kind of like get messed up, and it's very stressful. And another way I can recommend is writing things down. Sometimes we might have a lot of thoughts, a lot of emotions. We might feel overwhelmed. Uh, some Rather than talking to someone or going for a coach or counselor, writing your thoughts down, make it clear. That will help to understand your problem more than finding a solution. So those are few things that we can help to understand the situation. What do you think about
Yeah, like you say, always talking to someone who you think understands you, because sometimes we can't figure things out by our own. Like we all need some sort of assistance, or at least someone to hear what we have to say. So that way, I strongly believe that talking alone really helps in many ways. And as you said, even journaling or doing a small breathing exercises, um, going for a walk, listening to music, doing something peaceful and calm to relax yourself, even mindfully eating anything can really help.
Yeah. There are tools that we can use when we are stressed or when we are going through something. We don't have to deal or we don't have to go through it all alone. And like you said, there are tools that we can use, and there are people we can ask for help as well. And asking for help is it's a strength. But most people think that's a weakness, so they don't want to ask for help. So I encourage anyone to ask for help, and you don't have to go through everything alone. And there are people who likes to help. So yes, like you said, there are tools and things we can do when we are stressed or when we are going through negative emotions. If I ask you, like, what made you interested in psychology? You said you're a student at the moment. So, what made you interested about psychology, and what are your future plans?
So the reason I chose psychology is because before I understand people, I strongly believe that understanding myself is important in order to help someone else. So psychology has really helped me in many ways where I can understand my emotions and control my behaviors, communicate more openly, and it has given me strengths. If I have to be honest, so that in turn has helped me deal with people, and even when it comes to clients, uh, understanding begins with ourselves. So that is what I have gained.
That's true. That's interesting. What is your favorite area of psychology that you're interested in?
And I like the clinical side. Like, yeah.
Clinical psychology. Awesome. That's why you are interested in psychology, because you want to learn about yourself more and then help others. So that's really amazing. And I think for your age, I think you found a good path. Most people struggle in life and they don't find a good path, or they don't know what they want. So I think you have a clear idea about what you want and what you like to do. So in the future, who do you like to be?
I see myself as a clinical psychologist.
That's good. So, and you like to help others. That's your,
Yeah.
that's amazing. So I'm very inspired and very happy that I got the chance to talk with you. And what's the one small, what's, so this is my last question. What's one simple way someone can become more aware of their thoughts and emotions starting today?
As I previously mentioned, naming thoughts. For an instance, when it comes to a negative thought, again, you pause for a second, you think, why am I getting this thought? Is this thought real? Or am I just overthinking it? Is it true that it can happen this way? So, when you ask yourself those questions, you really understand and you become more aware. So, that is the best way I believe.
That's amazing. And like you said, pausing is very important. For us humans, we are very reactive, so pausing, take a breath. And you mentioned about naming the thought. Naming the thought is also important. Sometimes we don't know how we are feeling, so naming the thought and understand what you're feeling is very important to understand the situation or what's going through our mind, and that's a way to, I think, handle situations in life. So that's really amazing. If I may ask, if you do you have any advice or anything to give to others in our podcast? Like, yeah, do you have anything to share with us, or something to give away?
Yeah. So I would say that emotions are very powerful, especially anger or any sort. Every emotion is very powerful. Even too much happiness could be. So we as humans, understanding our emotions and acting accordingly, and especially when we are having a heavy emotion, it could be anger or whatsoever, where we not take decisions quickly, because it can really ruin a lot of things. Being irritable, being annoyed, being angry, it really affects us in negative ways, because at the moment we give only priority to what we feel. So later when we regret or whatsoever, it's going to be too late. So having that self awareness, and it'll be difficult at certain situations, but practicing is something to appreciate, where you take things calmly, because learning is a process and it takes time. So it's better to start slowly rather than regret later.
That's so true. And like you said, the anger, and I think self-awareness is very important, very important. So most people don't have self-awareness. That's why they react. That's why they don't know what they're saying, or the repercussion of their actions. They don't have that. So I think having self-awareness is a very important thing, so that we don't react, or uh, we try not to react, or we try to control our anger. I think that's very important. So if I may ask, do you have anything for me, like any questions or anything that I can help you with?
No, I don't.
Okay. So thank you so much for joining my podcast. And we talk a lot about how our brain, our thoughts, and everything that uh, every we talked about thoughts and emotions and how it affects our behavior. So thank you so much, Samiha, for joining my podcast and sharing knowledge with me.
It's my pleasure, and thank you for having me here today.
Thank you. So I hope to invite you again in the future, for another podcast. Yeah, I hope to invite you in another day for another podcast. Thank you so much for your
Hopefully.
time. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you for sharing your knowledge.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
Have a nice day. Take care. Bye.